6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Blade Runner Discussion Group. Today are my partners in crime, Script Doctor, and none other than T-shirted Horstorian.
Horstorian.
He's
The
a
Horstorian?
I'm a Horstorian now.
He's a horse story. So if you pass away tragically, we have to make you into glue? Is that?
I think that's really what it's about. Yeah.
Well,
I don't
at
want
least
to do that.
I
I mean,
would
at least
be
you'll be able to
useful.
stick around a lot easier, but no.
I'd be useful at least.
Stick around.
You're still useful.
So basically, this is like every episode is going to be a free for all. We can talk about everything we want to talk about with Blade Runner. But the fact is we've got this RPG game coming out in 2022. And by the way, I've gotten into the habit of saying 20 instead of 2000. Because that just reminds me of people that would like say 1909 back at the turn of the 20th century,
Why do
Hey,
they add
Joel.
the 9, though? It's 1909.
Yeah, 1900, it's like, so I think it was about 2012 when I'm like going, it's not 2012, it's 2012. People really need to get into the habit of this and stop saying 2000 because it's a lot of word.
Well, I mean, they had 9 years where they had to say 2001, 2002.
Yeah, and I actually said a few times 2002, 2001. But we grew up with 2001: A Space Odyssey. And it was called 2001: A Space Odyssey, not 2001. So I get it. It's something that we kind of had spoon-fed to a lot of us nerds in particular. Because what's it called? 2010, an Odyssey 2. It was called 2010. But I don't know. I got in the habit in 12 of just saying 2012, 2013. Every once in a while, I'll slip and say 2000, and I immediately cringe when I do. I'm like, God damn it! But they've got the new coming out in 2022. It's by Free League Publishing, and when I looked into what they did, basically they did an Alien RPG. They did what is that Netflix Blade Runner like show?
Altered Carbon?
Altered Carbon.
They did an Altered Carbon game. So, and this is an official game. It's tied into Alcon Entertainment, tabletop RPG. And I'm going to go ahead, guys. Hey, Jacob. Hey, Das Wolfen. Stephen Otten, my friend. What is up? 6, are you not going to direct the episode for me? I kept waiting for an email for your request and didn't get anything. Are you? Because Kyle's not here. Kyle's at dinner with his wife, his wiffin. And but anyway, I was checking out the website, and they got a video there. I think it's the same video that's on YouTube. Yes, it's in the private messages that he wasn't going to be here. So Yes, join. Come, join. You'll need the. I'm looking for you to request password or code. She has to get a code from you when she logs in. I really dislike that about StreamYard. They don't allow you to set up other people on the account to come in.
I think specifically to avoid fraud and multiple people using one account for.
Well, you can do it on
channels.
YouTube. You can set up people to manage your channel. So it seems to me that they could have the same security features and allow us to have people be able to do not come. What the fuck you?
Oh, but they also have the two-step authentication now for anytime you log in on YouTube, which is annoying.
Yeah, no, it's annoying, but with all the shit that happened over the last 2 years with people getting into accounts, hacking, I kind of get why they're doing it. I don't like it, but I get it.
I had no idea that was happening. That never happened to me.
Yeah, well, I get these little notifications, warnings. This was breached, that was breached. No private information was gleaned during the hack, which I really appreciate more than anything. Stephen Otten gives us $2. Stephen, if you love Blade Runner, my friend, you can always join us too. Get in the conversation. Because Tom Conkle's fucking doing stuff for his parents. Like, that's important.
Dude.
Dude.
Being a good son, that sucks.
Yeah. Thank God my parents are dead. I don't have to do it anymore. I'm horrible.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's kind of horrible. That's
I
gonna agree with you on that.
In all truth, I didn't have a close relationship with my parents. I tried to, it just didn't work. My dad, he got the dementia towards his last year, and he became very combative. And I'd already dealt with all of the medical issues with him, and I just I turned to my cousin. I said, "Look, I got to raise my kid. I cannot have this constant, pervasive negativity coming in. I've got to stay positive for my kid's sake. So my dad's your problem now. You love him." And my cousin Sherry loved my dad. They had a very close relationship, and she dealt with him a lot for the last year of his life. And I just raising a kid, man, is exhausting. I was doing it all by myself, no help from anyone. So it's like all my energy needed to go into that, and yeah, she turned out to be a little shit. An awesome little shit. So, all right, I'll send him an invite.
Cool.
Copy to clipboard. There we go. Oh shit! I forget what is your name on Twitter? I always forget. Do you guys remember what Stephen's name is?
On Twitter?
That's the one thing that actually kind of bugs me a little bit. Is sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, I get a new follower," and then DM, "I am this guy on YouTube." Oh, it doesn't correlate at all with your Twitter handle.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do my best to remember that, but it's tricky.
God bless it. I can't remember. Let me go into my messages. I might have something from him here.
Gary, I may not be available here for a couple minutes. I've got to take a phone call.
Oh, don't worry.
I do apologize.
Deleted scenes. That's it. Deleted scenes. There you are. That's weird. Well, anyway, I sent you the link, buddy. Oh, 6 is coming. All right. Oh, onto the show. I thought you were just letting us all know you were coming. I have to boot up my old laptop. I didn't burn my house down and get a new one like you did. That is so nice of her to say that.
Oh, I already had the conversation today with my girlfriend. She tells me I have to get a new computer. It's like, no, I like this one. It's good. It's
Why
like,
do you
it's
have to
not
get a new one?
Well, it's like it's almost 12 years old. It still has Windows 7,
Yeah, you need a new computer.
but it still functions really well.
Yeah, my first laptop I got in '96. My God, what a dinosaur that thing was! Had that little fucking screen.
It had the little nub for the mouse.
Yes, it looked. I don't know. It was creepy touching it. I didn't like it at all. And then that same year I got rid of it and just bought a really nice PC. Actually, I had a friend of mine build it for me, and it was for its day, it was pretty powerful. And I remember a bunch of people going, "You need to go get an Amiga. If you're an artist, graphic artist, you need to have an Amiga." So I went to the computer store and looked at the price of the Amiga, and I went, "I'm not going to get an Amiga. It's too fucking expensive." And look where they are now. Nowhere. They should have worked at making it more affordable, and I think they would have done better. There's Stephen.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Hey, great.
Well, thank you very much.
Right
I didn't know I don't like the little nipple. No. I did get a Mac. I've had a couple of Macs. I had a G4, and then back in the '90s, I had, I don't remember what number it was, but I remember having a Macintosh computer and fucking hated them both. The G4 was good for graphics, but when I wanted to upgrade it, it's a fortune to upgrade anything made by Apple. I'm like, fuck it, I'll stick with PCs, because if they start to go bad, it doesn't kill me to get a new one.
Well, that's also kind of interesting because it goes in a little bit to Blade Runner. So with Macs, they all their stuff is built for a Mac, which makes them pretty good on security-wise of things for internet. But with PC, because all the parts are from whomever and they're all compatible and relatively compatible in that regard, they're a bit more easy to be compromised. And just kind of like with Blade Runners, same with replicants. Like you have various companies competing for replicants, and the one that wins is Terrell.
Yeah, I wished you'd been here. Some guy started some like bullshit argument with being very dismissive that we need to stop calling replicants robots. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he was going off about how, they're not robots. I said, the fuck they're not robots. They're biomechanical robots. They're each organ and part is manufactured by a different person. And then they're all put together by the main manufacturer, Tyrell Corporation, who has some sort of, what do they call it? Proprietary rights to how their brains work.
Yes.
And I said, did you not fucking watch the movie? And he's like, they're not fucking robots. So I sat there, and I think it was the first minute. Hold on. Blade Runner. I'm looking for it right here. Yeah, here it is. Here. Images. I'm going to get an image of it. Oh. Open image in new tab. There we go. And I posted this for him. I'm like, dude, it's in the first seconds of the fucking movie. And he still tried to argue with me. I just blocked him. I'm like, I'm done talking to you. You're an idiot. And he's popped up in not in our chat, but in our comments.
Well, I appreciate the interaction.
Here we go. What does that say at the top?
Advanced robotic evolution into the Nexus phase.
Robot evolution. I said it's in the first fucking words of the movie that they're robots. They're
Well,
just
they are programmed, so
biomechanical.
they're programmed with language, the ability to communicate, certain tasks and operations. It's just on a biological level. So even though I think abstractly it fits all the robotic design, but it is all biological.
People wonder
components.
why, because I started Blade Zone back.
Did we lose him?
I think we lost him. For a second there, I thought I was lost. So anyways, who's heard about this tabletop RPG for Blade Runner?
What the fuck? I lost connection, man.
Yes, you did.
I was like, what the fuck? But anyway, yeah, this guy would just pop in and just start fights. And it goes back, harkens back to when I started Blade Zone. And we had what was called the Blade Runner Roundtable. It had a couple thousand members. And constantly fighting with one another over stuff. It was fun. But nobody was being dismissive. And I'm like, I hate shitty fans that get dismissed with other fans because they don't agree with them. I'm like, well, first of all, I get it if somebody doesn't agree with you. Replicants, Deckard's not a replicant. Deckard's a replicant. Whatever wherever you stand in, it's awesome you're a fan of Blade Runner. But this guy is like, fucking angry and like, they're not robots. And I'm like, yes, they are. They're not clones. Because he kept trying to say they were clones. And I'm like, they're not clones.
Where's he getting clones from?
I don't know where this person
I think conflating the biological aspect of the replicants.
Well, this is a thing that I had a problem with the Blade Runner sequels of the books, which is you had a Roy Batty human that the model was based on. And I'm like, and they do say model in the film.
Yeah.
And I was like, is it really? I mean, they don't really explain that at all, with the Nexus 6. And so I was always bothered by that we didn't go into the details that were important for us fucking nerds that like, wait a minute, what? And so it's like, is he based on a person? And if he is, that really does. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hold on. I wish there was a way to do this without doing the codes. I'm just going to post it in the chat. Nobody knows how to get in here. There you go. I wouldn't care if they did. There you go. That's the code.
Deckard is a meat popsicle. Good one, Das Wolfen. I like that.
That works. I can get on board with that one.
But I do like in the Blade Runner game, it sort of alludes to the fact that Tyrell is messing with things. And, so it really put some credence behind why Deckard was such a pussy with, weak replicant if he were a replicant. I kind of like that. But I don't buy it because, once again, if it's not in the script, it's not in the movie. And you can't allude to shit in a movie and then not have, an answer for it. And gimmickry is another thing that bugged me about the film. And it's one of the few things I agreed with Bud York and Gerry about Blade Runner, that they hated the glowing eye thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, visually it's nifty, but the fact is it's a gimmick.
Yeah, because here's the other part, too. Is it something that only we as the audience recognize, or is it something that humans within the story can recognize?
It's a throwaway thing. Ridley gets these great visual ideas because he's a visual person. I mean,
yes,
he is a master director of photography. His films look so good because of him. He hires some great cinematographers, but the fact is that's what he is. He's a master cinematographer. And Tony Scott, God rest his soul, was the better director
Well, he knew how to get performances out of actors far more
He's
effectively.
he's an actor's director. He understood how to direct. He also understood story structure. Whereas Ridley kind of gets, if he doesn't start with a really good fucking script, his movies are always problematic. Every single time. His prequels to the Alien films are failures
Yeah.
because the stories are terrible. I mean, he established with the first Alien film that even when you do the right thing, you might die.
Yes.
And that's scary. When you show people being stupid and then dying, you just sort of go, all right, well,
You take
there
away the
go.
compassion of the human element. of
Exactly.
things.
Your
Yeah.
compassion for that guy that wants to handle an alien snake and treat it like it's a puppy. Yeah, he talked to it like it was a fucking puppy.
Well, the other part too, going back to the Blade Runner and the red eye thing, I understand the tactic. It's supposed to convey a little bit of dramatic irony that we, the audience, know something the main character doesn't, but it's just a little bit too much of a telegraph. I would argue, as opposed to something where we get it done more. I don't know, like it doesn't feel as obviously presented to us. It's a different type of clue that we can pick up. But the red eye thing, I think that just is a play on the fact of, everyone who had a Polaroid camera or a disposable camera and they got photos taken, and some of the people would have red eyes, irises in the shots, and some wouldn't. And that was just
there was something very I don't know. It's subconscious thing that, like when I was a kid, my brother Jim's eyes always glowed in photographs, and we picked on him about it. I didn't pick on him. My older brothers and sisters did. Would fuck with him, calling him possessed by the devil and shit. And we learned it as it's an evil thing. If a kid has glowing eyes, he's evil. And so I think there's something primal like that with the showing of because like the first time you see the glowing eye, really paying attention to it, there's that sound that's coming from Vangelis.
Mhm.
That sounds very menacing. And I kind of, I like that aspect of it. But at the same time, like you said, who's seeing this? Is it just the audience? Or are the characters in the movie seeing it? Because if the human sees it, just fucking air them out. That's a fucking replicant thing.
You would end up basically saying we have no reason for the void comp machine because we know this is their tell.
Yeah, their eye will glow.
Yeah.
But here's something interesting. Is a lot of people don't catch it, but when Morgan Paul's Holden character at the very beginning is testing Brian James, Leon.
Yeah.
One shot of Holden, his eyes glow.
Mm-hmm.
And it was done intentionally. Because Ridley, like Stanley Kubrick, is very intentional. There's nothing incidental or accidental that happens on camera. These guys plan things out. They get into the deep minutia of planning it out. And so you don't get like an accidental eye glow. So I think if he had really done what he was setting out to do in saying that the hunters were replicants too, and that characters like Gaff were the overseers, that would have worked if that was in the fucking story. That would have been interesting.
If that dynamic was done, yeah.
It's
But
maybe like a little play on the fact that maybe Deckard was like a Gaff, but in reality he was actually like, he was a Blade Runner that became an operator, and then it's like, oh wait, he was actually like, if you wanted to imply that he was that replicant, you could frame it that way to get more of a thing out of there. But what I really liked about Blade Runner is the fact that here Deckard is a guy who lost his humanity being a Blade Runner, and then only when he's recruited back in, regains it again by way of seeing basically human character traits, seeing people like Roy Batty and Rachel.
Yeah, because when he was working, he was dealing with the Nexus 5s.
Yeah.
And now he's dealing with a far more advanced one. And I think that more should have been put into that too, story-wise, to explain the change that he had to adapt to with this new thing. But I still love the film. It's still my number one favorite film because what it gave us this interesting world. And
By the way, Gary, did you send Six the code?
Yeah, it's in the chat.
She's Indian.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah. So you've got this rich universe, which is one of the things that I criticize Denis Villeneuve's film for, the lack of the atmosphere that Blade Runner had. There's a reason why the British Film Institute and the American Film Institute both voted it as the single most influential film, visually influential film of the 20th century. And the reason why is because so many films have copied it. The look, the use of atmosphere. Ridley started that shit. Him and Kubrick were guys who really worked on atmosphere with their films, which is why, and I'm interested on your take of this. I feel that Ridley Scott did a better job with The Duelists than Kubrick did with Barry Lyndon.
Oh, absolutely.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
I feel that Barry Lyndon was long, drawn out, and fucking boring. It took forever to get to its fucking point. And its point is really, the theme of the film is just meh, And Ridley Scott, on the other hand, made a masterpiece film and had, in my opinion, better cinematography than Kubrick did, and Kubrick did it artificially. Even though it looks natural, it's artificial, whereas Ridley really used natural lighting for a lot of stuff in that film. And in fact, that final scene with Harvey Keitel was one of the single most serendipitous moments in cinema history. When that sun broke those clouds, that was not planned. It just happened. And it's one of the few times that happened with Ridley Scott.
Well, that's just right place at the right time and taking advantage of your surroundings. Because I know stories like one of my parents' friends was a producer on The Edge of Darkness, the BBC series, before Mel Gibson got involved with the movie remake.
I love that series. It's so
they spent an afternoon trying to get this one shot where a helicopter is rising from behind like an edge, like a field. And they're basically on walkie-talkies, and they're trying to get the timing just right and everything. And they're cursing over the radio, basically like saying, like, the camera's pulling into focus right now, freaking launch it, and they're just screaming at each other trying to get this one shot, because they know they only have the light for maybe another half hour, and because they raise a helicopter, then lower it and do it again.
That was their only chance.
Yeah,
the BBC is really cheap.
And this would be in the late 70s, early 80s, I think, is when they did that series. But yeah, it was crazy, the stuff they had to do.
Yeah, but and that's one of the few times I think in Ridley's career where something was not intended. I mean, the shot was set up, but that sun coming through really sold that fucking scene.
Yeah,
and it is absolutely. It's funny. The first top five favorite films of all time, it'll never change, is Ridley Scott and John Carpenter. It's just them in the first five, because I think both of them are geniuses, and their films had massive impacts on me. More directors jump in after we get past five, but the first five are nothing but Ridley Scott and John Carpenter.
I hold John Carpenter above Ridley Scott just because he's got more range.
I agree.
Well, he's a storyteller too.
Yeah, he also knows how to write a lot. He knows how to hone in a story. He understands genre better than a lot of other directors today. And even at his time, he was in this panel with John Landis, and another horror director. And John Landis was only there because American Werewolf in London. But Carpenter was there because he knew almost everything of the genre. And yet, Landis is far more, quote unquote, recognized in the horror community, where Carpenter is kind of like this cult fan favorite.
Yeah, he's a cult.
And when he should have way more accolades and way more of a reputation than he does.
Well, and I blame that on critics of the time, because the critics just did not give him his just dues for his work. I mean, The Thing was a masterpiece.
Yeah, it was.
And it got panned by everybody. Oh, it's gore porn, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, get past the gore and look at what he's doing here. That is a great character-driven story.
Yeah.
And it is.
Yeah.
I tell people, he always wanted to make an Agatha Christie mystery. And that The Thing is Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. It even has a similar ending.
Well, it's a
survives.
bit more based off the initial short story of I think it's Who Goes There. I think it was called.
No. I'm talking about the film.
But his take on it is definitely classic.
Because he said
mystery.
it in an interview way back that he had always wanted to do an Agatha Christie film, and that's how he approached the script, was to write it like it was an Agatha Christie mystery. Who's the thing? Who's doing what? Right? But yeah, Who Goes There? And it's really a really close adaptation of the book. Because if you've ever read it, the novella, I have like 4 copies of it, so I'll never be without one. And including a digital copy from Amazon. I got a Kindle edition. And I got to tell you, man, reading the book, he really does stick to a lot of the stuff that happens in the book from the beginning to the very end. But he adds that element of the Agatha Christie mystery to it, so it becomes very suspenseful. And it's a very suspenseful film, and people who don't get that didn't watch the film correctly.
Well, they're probably just not
watch a film correctly.
I don't know how you can not watch them correctly, but they probably weren't paying attention as
That's what I mean.
intended by the director.
That's what I mean. To watch something incorrectly means that you expect it to be spoon-fed to you, and you don't have to pay attention. And that's watching movies incorrectly. That's lazy film watching. And I know a lot of people that watch movies like that.
Well, I would always argue that it's not necessarily the laziest of the film watching, but like the director should be manipulating you in the most positive way so that you don't want to turn away from the screen. But that's always difficult to do, especially when you have something like a suspense horror of The Thing. Like you're kind of fighting against that. Like he did a great job with the dog. Like you care about this dog. It's being chased by these 2 guys from the Norwegian camp, and that kind of hooks you in. And then slowly the dog kind of is pushed to the side for a little bit because he's wandering around there and just kind of figuring things out. And then all of a sudden, boom, his face opens up and he's like this horrible creature.
That scene. And by the way, a lot of people don't know that Rob Bottin did the entire film except for the dog kennel scene. And the dog kennel scene was done by
Stan Winston.
Oh, I just forgot his name, that did The Predator and
Stan Winston.
Stan Winston. It was his one contribution to the film, and in my opinion was one of the smartest scenes. And almost everything, I remember him in an interview saying that almost everything in that scene was out of a kitchen. You can find in a kitchen, including the material it was made out of. It's crazy. The foaming stuff that they shot at him is the same thing recipe-wise as what's inside of a Twinkie.
Sugar and baking soda and all those other things.
Yeah, it's yummy. It'll kill you, but it's yummy. Martin is in the room. Hello, my friend Martin. How are you doing? Yes, I got your message on Xbox. I replied back to you. I don't know if you got it yet. But yeah, we need to hang out and play a game, dude. Fuck yeah. Stephen Otten is in our panel and chatting. So he's saying, hail, Martin. Yay.
So, Gerry, give us some more details on this Blade Runner tabletop RPG.
Yeah, I've got it set up now, so I'm going to
go
ahead and, the last half of this, we can talk about the game. This is actually, I enjoyed this conversation. That's why I like having you on, because we talk about movie stuff. Share screen. Here we go. Sharing the screen. Yeah. Gets the audio. Yeah. Here we go. This is the trailer for the new role-playing game that's coming out next year.
leaning hard into that Vangelis soundtrack there. Well,
Yeah.
attempted Vangelis. It's not real.
It
but-
lacks the crunchy bass of Vangelis, but
yeah, it's like somebody
still pretty damn
who's
good.
heard Vangelis but never actually heard Vangelis.
Right. I heard it passing. Does this sound like him?
This kind of sounds like Vangelis, right? We just throw a bunch of yeah, okay.
But here's the box. I think it looks beautiful. I love the artwork. Production art looks really good. And then we go over here, and this is the website. And if you go to the website, it's bladerunner-rpg.com. There's the trailer again. Overview. This is a Blade Runner role-playing game. A neon noir instead of neo noir. That's interesting.
Huh.
Wonderland.
I think that's a spell
odd
mistake.
phrasing.
No,
Yeah,
I don't think it is. I don't think it is a spelling mistake. I think they said exactly what they wanted to on that neon noir, and that actually fits. That actually fits Blade Runner because
With
most
neon-
of
with the
the
neon
with the
lights,
neon. Yeah.
Wonderland that'll take your breath away one way or another. An evocative world of conflicts and contrasts that dares to ask the hard questions and investigate the powers of empathy, the poisons of fear, and the burdens of being human during inhumane time. And don't roll faster than I can read, bitch. An iconic and unforgiving playground of endless possibilities that picks you up, slaps you in the face, and tells you to wake up, time to live or time to die. The sad thing is it's not the future anymore.
Yeah. It's a
I was joking
Could've
about it
been.
the other night. 2019, man. Oh, wait, no, it's the past now.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
all right. What do you want to know about this?
I wish they'd given us some pictures because I'm assuming it's going to be a board or cards. Or
No, it's
both.
going to be a role playing game. So it's going to be
With
done
dice?
with books, and there will be dice. If it's probably going to be set up the same way the Aliens role playing game was, which means you will throw 6-sided dice, and one of your dice will be a stress dice, which means you can. Okay, everything will be task oriented, which means like, let's say you wanted to be Roy Batty and jump across the building thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what the GM would do is tell you is like, okay, here's your difficulty. I need you to make, so many successes on your dice. And then you would look at what your dice pool has in it. And depending on external factors in the game, your character can acquire what's called stress dice, which is extra dice that, while they can increase your chances of success, the fact that you can roll one of these stress dice can cause bad things to happen as a result of hitting your stress points.
With
So-
that said, let me read what they have here because this is interesting.
Yeah,
the
it's the Year
official-
Zero engine. It's the same one they use in Alien. It's exactly
Yeah.
what I just described.
The official Blade Runner RPG will propel players into the streets of Los Angeles as Blade Runners with unique specialities, personalities, and memories. The core game and its line of expansions will push the boundaries of investigative gameplay in tabletop RPGs, giving players a range of tools to solve an array of cases far beyond retiring replicants. Beyond
Yeah.
the core casework, the RPG will both in setting and mechanics showcase key themes of Blade Runner: sci-fi action, corporate intrigue, existential character drama, and moral conflict that challenge players to question your friends, empathize with your enemies, and explore the poisons and perseverance of hope and humanity during such inhumane times. The rules of the game are based on the acclaimed Year Zero engine, used in
Mhm.
award-winning games such as Alien RPG, Tales from the Loop, and Forbidden Lands, but further developed and uniquely tailored for Blade Runner. Now, I'm fucking all
So, yeah.
in. I'm going to try it.
Does Wolf, and yeah, he's asking, I want to know what the rule set is. Are they using the Aliens rules? Yeah, they're going to be using that same set of rules with your stress dice and stuff. I don't necessarily know they're going to be using D6s this time. They probably will, because they did it before. So I don't see why they would quit. But
They did push it to the future. It's 2037. The
So-
core rule book
16
begins-
years.
Yeah.
yeah, So it's based on the sequel, more likely.
The core rule book begins the adventure shortly after the Wallace Corporation debuts the new Nexus 9 replicants on Earth, giving players the choice to play as either human or replicant. I'm fine with that because I liked the way he handled replicants in his film. As a member of the LA, see, that's one thing I wish they had done in the Blade Runner game from '97. They shortened it or truncated it to LPD, and it's like it's LAPD. It's weird saying LPD. Rep Detect Unit. You'll face impossible choices and find beauty and humanity in the stubborn resilience to keep fighting, to preserve through pain, to agonize over itches that you can't scratch, to do questionable and extraordinary things, chasing after fleeting moments of love, hope, and redemption, to be lost in time like tears and rain. They're getting a little too fucking waxing.
They're trying to lean so hard into the movie nostalgia.
Yeah, they really are. Other than that, and I kind of get annoyed when people do that. It's like, stop it. Stop it.
I was there, you weren't.
It's just a normal day, of course. So get to work and grab some noodles on the way. That stacks.
It's the noodles thing.
Crack itself. It's a shame you won't live long enough to solve them all. But then again, who does? Jeez,
trying too hard.
It seems like they're kind of pigeonholing the aesthetic of the game. Like, it doesn't seem as open exploration as you could for, like, compared to other role-playing games.
Yeah, it seems like it's very limited. It's like if you're either going to play a replicant or somebody who's hunting them down. And it's kind of like in a future that is so wide open and so explored in so many other cyberpunk games, you would think that there would be so many more stories you could tell just besides this story.
And Los Angeles isn't the only fucking city.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you should be able to go to Paris, New York.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be a Mars supplement if the game is successful. So there'll be that.
I hope so, because it really, as good as this sounds, it really does sound limiting.
It does.
Yeah. So there we are. That's my thoughts on it. Your thoughts? Anybody else have any other thoughts on it?
Definitely when it comes out, Grim and I will be taking it apart page by page on our channel. Because this is exactly what we do. This is what we look at role-playing games, and we tear them apart mechanically. We tear them apart as far as what kind of a story it can offer you and how the mechanics work. But if it's using the Aliens system, it's gonna be, well, I mean, I did not care for the Aliens role-playing game because, like this one, it seems to be very limited in scope, because the Aliens game is kind of like, okay, you immediately know you're going to play a human or an android, and you're going to have to deal with aliens at some stage of the game. So this one apparently is, you're going to be a replicant or a Blade Runner, and you're going to have to deal with one or the other at some stage of the game. And it's kind of like, I want to be able to tell way, way bigger stories than, just what's on the cinema screen.
Yeah, like, does it have the option for you to play as a human, but you don't know you're a replicant?
Yeah.
Because that would be fun type of thing to do.
Sleepers.
Yeah, Sleepers.
That's the name of one of my books.
It's also the name of a pretty good movie.
Woody Allen
movie. Yeah, with mine is actually more literal. It's about military soldiers who are put in stasis and only awakened as they're going into combat. All information about the battle is downloaded into their brain as they're in their drop ship heading towards the conflict.
Okay, Das Wolfen, you want to get it as a source book and run it with a different set of rules. That is a great idea. Also, if you want to play something like that right now, you can always get Carbon 2185, I believe. Hang on, I'll double check my stuff. But it's from a English or UK based company called Dragon Turtle Games. And Their system is good. It's using modified D&D 5th edition D20, but I've used it, and it already has replicants built into the system. So you could tell that story if you wanted to, but it also opens it up with a lot more world building, lots of new classes to explore, things like that. And I mean, you could play this game already. You don't need this particular set of rules. Yeah, Carbon 2185, and I think you can actually download a free set of the rules. But I'll post up the link here for you guys. Good game.
You know, while we're sitting here talking about it, because I brought it up earlier, but by mistake, I meant Alien. But I have wanted for a while to design an RPG for the thing that's based directly off of Who Goes There, but following the suspenseful mystery theme of the film.
That would be pretty cool. You are aware of one of the proposed sequels to the thing from, I think it was 91, where it takes place on a submarine that has rescued McCready and Keith David. And
I read the comics. Yeah,
which I thought was it was turned into a comic. I thought it was a pretty cool take.
Yeah,
now that contains location and a shot.
I was in the Army, and I would go to the next town over to their comic shop and look for new stuff. And I saw those. I'm like, get the fuck out of here! Sequel to the thing. And then I also saw the
I'm curious.
Lost in Space.
Okay. So the thing on the submarine. So would it end up being McCready or Childs? That was the thing.
I don't remember if they actually spoiled that.
I remember. It's been almost 30 years.
Because there can be multiple things at the same time. That's the cool part about it, is that it just needs to, part of it just needs to take one, and then you got two. True. Man, I really wish I could remember that.
I've always thought that passive infection should have been explored. You know, because they kind of hint at it.
Well, the dog gets that one guy right first, and we don't know who that is.
They don't show who it is, but you're really limited as to who it can be.
It's like there's three options of who it could be, and one of them does die in that really cool blood test scene.
That's oh gosh,
Palmer.
Oh,
I hate it when I forget
Palmer. Yeah,
Palmer. Yeah.
Oh, him.
I always thought. I always
ahead.
thought that the first one infected was Norris.
Yeah, Norris seemed like the first one that was infected.
It was Norris,
because you have that scene.
You can see the collar of his sweater and the shirt coming out of it. And some idiot tried to argue with me. Goes, Carpenter used somebody else for that shadow. I said, yeah, but they put him in Norris's clothes and hairstyle.
Yeah.
And then he went, well, it could have been Palmer. I said, that's not Palmer's room. And
because Palmer shares a room with Childs.
Yeah, Palmer there was a bed on the other side of the door and shelves. So it's not Palmer and Child's room. And we never get to see Norris's room, so it's clearly fucking Norris.
Mm-hmm.
And I God, this is that is the Deckard is a replicant argument of the thing. Every single fucking discussion group, there's one area dedicated just to this fucking argument. And I've gone in there with photographs trying to explain it can't be anybody else. It's fucking awesome that a movie that old, just like Blade Runner, is still fucking debated to this day.
Just shows how really engaging it is and how effective it was.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
It's like I've said, not too long ago. If you can take a piece of media, be it comic book, film, or music, or whatever, that is 20 years old or older, and it still holds up, special effects notwithstanding, but if it still holds up story-wise or character-wise or acting-wise or anything else, then that is my criteria for what is a classic.
Yeah, very much so. And one of the things that we talked about was like, why did Norris act the way he did? And was he aware that he was transitioning into the Thing?
He thinks so. The actor himself thought so.
Well, one of the arguments came directly from something that came from John Carpenter, which is that Norris suffered from a heart condition. And he was on medication for it. And the Thing didn't know how to replicate that. And that's what caused the heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
It was in its final stages of taking over, and it didn't know what to do with his I think he called it incipient or I can't remember the word he used. I think it was incipient, but I'm not sure. The beginning stages of a heart condition or something. And it didn't know what to do with it, and that's what caused him to have the attack. But by the time he was on the table, he was no more Norris anymore. It was all Thing.
I think it also has to do with the fact that the Thing was probably trying to also it couldn't replicate a healthy heart, and it couldn't understand how to replicate the unhealthy heart. And I think that's what you're referring to.
Think that's what that Carpenter was talking about. And what's the matter? I moved the mic away.
Oh,
I'm not having any audio issues
because we can hear you. Yeah.
But I'm here, Martin. I am here. But it's just one of the cool things. God damn it, those two films. Number 1 and number 2 on my favorite movies of all time list. Number 1, Blade Runner. Number 2, The Thing.
And released in the same year.
Same year. Both murdered by Steven Spielberg.
82
with
was
AT, yeah.
82 was just a sensational year for film, man. I still say it's the best one in cinema history.
Star Trek Through the Wrath of Khan.
Yes.
Great fucking year for film.
Yep.
E.T.
Yeah, and it's my favorite year. It was the year I turned 18, and it was the year I didn't have to have my dad with me to see an R-rated film. And that was awesome. Smack that like button. Goddamn right. Smack it. But hopefully you can hear me now, Martin. I moved the microphone closer. But we're getting up to the final minutes here. Anything else Blade Runner or Thing related we want to talk about?
I'm really hoping that they have a good system with, I guess, that alien system to make the Void Comp stuff fun.
Yeah.
Because I think that's going to be the part that people are going to be really interested about, especially if it's through a DM that's already knows the answer and they have to, speak on behalf of the suspected replicant.
I suspect that's where the stress dice will come in again, because it's like that's what the VK system measures anyways, the stressors.
Mm-hmm. So. And it's interesting because, like, if you remember the Thing video game, it was the first game to introduce stress to your character. And I think that's interesting to add stuff like an element like that to a game of any kind, whether it's RPG or video. And like that, it's dead. All right.
Well, I mean, that was a good statement. I didn't add to it.
What did you find to say?
I thought for some reason T-shirt was going to toss in on that one because he's a big game guy.
Well, I mean, until I actually, see more about it, I'm kind of just conjecturing. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, that's all it is.
My thing, though, is it's like, I hope it's good. But honestly, it's like there are already so many systems out there that do this that I think it's not going to get the kind of audience that they want, especially not if they're basing it on 2049 or 2048, whatever the hell it was. The sequel that doesn't exist.
Comic book too, right?
Yeah, we don't count
where
those.
They talk about the digital age, and then they go back to paper and all that stuff.
Yeah. Like I said, there's already so many games that do this, and I think they missed their window on it, to be honest. I don't think it's going to get the kind of audience they want. I don't know if it's going to get the numbers that they want. Most of us who are going to be buying it, I think, are going to be the old school fans who actually love the movie. But, the new movie didn't do all that well. So
It
You
did.
know.
It's going to do better over time.
yeah,
Because, I mean, we've talked about this previously, is that Blade Runner made its money back through video and video sales. It was for a while like one of the number one most rented video movies when VHS first started. It was one of the first films on Laserdisc, and it included the director commentary, which is really the precursor to what we have today for all the bonus materials. Blade Runner had such a huge impact in so many different ways to entertainment. And I loved the Laserdisc. The problem with Laserdiscs, you had to flip it like a record.
Yeah.
Um,
They
That's
actually
why-
had that also with the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves DVD. You had to flip that as well.
there was another movie that came out on DVD that
Spartacus, I think, also you had to flip.
was that it? I just remember there was, and I was like, I don't want. I'm not being lazy. I don't want to interrupt my fucking stuff. Don't
No,
interrupt me.
I learned that during my first year working at a video store, and a customer came in to complain, like, there's only half the movie on there, and I put it on, and then I was like, flipped it. I looked at the inside rim, it said side A, side B, and then I had to explain it's like, yeah, you got to turn it. The guy's like,
Yeah, it's
well,
like,
I still want
it's
my
like a
money
fucking
back.
LP, man. It's just now. Don't get me wrong. I like back in the 80s, late 70s and the 80s. I bought the fuck out of the Star Wars story albums, and these were based on the movies. So you had, of course, Star Wars, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. And I bought all of them. And Empire was my favorite because they got Roscoe Lee Brown. As I recall, that's who they got. No. There's another actor, not Roscoe. Because Roscoe, I think, did Darth Vader for the radio show. That's why I got his name in there. But they had a really great actor that did the narration. Because the albums were the movie, sound effects, music, voice actors, from the movie, actual clips. But then you had a narrator. And it was fucking awesome. And to me, it was kind of like the audiobook of Star Wars in LP format. And I bought all three of those things, man. And so really flipping a DVD should have been natural after years of listening to those story albums. Did any of you guys ever do that, Stephen? T-shirt stepped away, but
The only other story albums I ever saw were on cassette tape, and they were only the one side. I think the one I remember getting as a kid was like The Rocketeer.
Oh yeah.
And then on the other side, it was just like music and things from The Rocketeer. So
I'm old enough to remember the story albums. I used to listen to them a lot when I was very little. And they had the book that you could read along with.
Yeah, as I recall, I think one of them folded open. I can't remember which one. I'm trying to find it right now. Let me add the word in here because it's having trouble. Here we go. This is the one. Malachi Throne. That's who the narrator was. Oh, you could download it here.
oh, cool.
Nice.
that was a great
Okay,
name for an actor.
Malachi Throne, yeah.
Yeah. Surprised you didn't get more work.
He must have had his own taste.
Here we go. This is the album right here.
Oh,
Dialogue
yeah.
and music
I had
for
that
the
one.
original motion picture.
I had that one.
Cool.
Yeah, I had them all. I fucking love those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's the Return of the Jedi one. But I also own the NPR radio shows that had oh my goodness, I just forgot his name. It did have Mark Hamill and it had Anthony Daniels. but they had Perry King as Han Solo, and they had Roscoe Lee Brown as the voice of Darth Vader, and John Lithgow, that's his name. John Lithgow did the voice of Yoda.
Was that
John
the one
Lithgow did Yoda?
And it was really good. He was spot on. And the NPR did the entire trilogy as radio programs.
I got to hear John Lithgow doing Yoda.
It's available on archive.org if you look for it.
Oh, I love that site.
Oh my God, I get so much cool shit off that site. And what I really like is I miss having some of my sci-fi mags. Every once in a while, they'll have the magazine I'm looking for in PDF format. I'll download it. I fucking love that. Starlog, Fangoria, or Cinefantastique. And man, those magazines were the bomb diggity. You have the Six has the shows on cassette. But for those who don't have it and would like to listen to them, just go to archive.org and they just look up NPR Star Wars, and it should load out all of them and just download them as MP3s.
You can also just stream directly from the site too. So
that too. I prefer downloading so I can listen from wherever I'm at.
And just in case the internet goes out, you at least have it on the machine too.
Yep.
Yeah.
If the world falls into disarray and the internet collapses, I still have a copy of the NPR Star Wars stories. And they did the BBC replicated that by doing Doctor Who radio dramas, and they're really pretty good. Because that's all these are. They're done in the old style, 30s, 40s, and early 50s radio shows. But they're done with these modern characters, and it's fun. I always wish they'd done something like that with Indiana Jones, and they didn't do it. Because that's a character that would have been fun in the radio.
That fits
drama.
for like the radio plays, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, but I guess that's it. We're over an hour. Script Doctor, buddy, I'm so glad you showed up, man.
Oh yeah, I was happy to be here.
When you come on because we get to talk movie shit.
I love it when
Stephen
Tripp is
Otten,
on.
thanks, brother. Appreciate you coming on. And T-shirt, I really do love when you're. I'm so glad you're fucking over that. He got COVID, man. He recovered from it, and because a lot of us were really worried when you had it.
I was worried too. I was afraid I was going to die.
Yeah, that's the
glad
first
you
thought I
didn't.
always have. If you're near 50 and you get the fucking C word, it's scary shit. But
Yeah.
thank God you got it. When you told me you were feeling better already, I'm like, fucker, don't lie to me. And you're like, no, I feel good. And I'm like, well, fuck.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I was lucky. Like I said, I think being vaxxed helped a bunch. So
I'm glad you're here. Dust Wolfen says Indy would have been perfect for a radio play. I completely agree. I think we all do. I wish they'd done it like they did with Star Wars.
yeah.
Oh well. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for showing up. Let's see who all showed up. We got Dust Wolfen, of course. Bring her out here. Hi, Six. Six is on the show now. Yay. Martin, my friend.
Hi back there, Gerry.
Oh my God, fuck you. Lord Thoth, of course, showed up at the beginning. Stephen Otten, of course, is on the show with us and was in the chat. And of course, Jacob, I think, showed up. Let me check. I think Jacob showed up. Dust Wolfen, do you know Jacob? Because he's in Springfield too. Jacob the critic, there he is. He showed up. And that's it. That's the bulk of it. Yay. Thanks for showing up, everybody. I really do appreciate it. And I never got to do my thank you video for Stephen, who put some money in. And let me give you this is my favorite. This is it should be Blade Runner. God damn it. I don't want to do Blade Runner. I'm going to do this one.
I like you. You have balls. I like balls.
Good old
And-
Team America.
I fucking love that movie so much.
That's hilarious.
And the Chiodo, a lot of people don't know the Chiodo brothers worked on that movie.
Oh,
The
yeah.
guys who did Killer Clowns from Outer Space and The Critters for the first, I think they worked on the first 4 films, and none of the sequels or TV show. But the Chiodo brothers are brilliant, man. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, it's like one of my favorite weird films of all time.
I think that's also one of the first theatrical appearances of Christopher Titus, the stand-up comic.
He was in that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was in that.
Oh shit! Now I gotta break it out. I made my daughter a fan of that movie. She sat with me when she was 12 years old. I said, I'm going to show you one of my favorite 80s films right now, honey. She sat down and she's like, she's usually very skeptical. All right. I put it on and she fucking like, I love that movie. It's the most amazing film I've ever seen. I'm like, yeah, I know. Fucking brilliant. Backdoor Gerry. Oh, fuck you, Zax. Fuck you, Six. Fuck both of you. Goddamn. The backdoor shit. But I have a new outro. And it's well, you'll see. There you go. Thanks a lot for coming, guys.